The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
What's your opinion on the information that has been brought forth by this guy from United Kingdom, the intelligence guy, Michael Shrimpton?
I know a little bit of it. Once I read some of the things that I knew were blatantly wrong, I just considered it just more disinformation. They're just trying to confuse you. The Obots are good at that also. They raise something. They have some good propaganda is this. Some of it's the truth, and some of it's a raving lie.
Yeah.
All to fool you. So the best way of doing it is be discriminating. And I can't remember some of the things he was saying, but I think he was saying that she wasn't, Ann Dunham wasn't the mother, which is absurd and just not provable, because it wouldn't explain the actions of Stanley Dunham, the father, why he shipped her off to Kenya to have the baby. So I think it's just disinformation. The guy's trying to make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I don't pay any attention to it. If you want the facts, remember, my purpose of this whole case is following the letter of the law of misprision of felony and misprision of treason. Paul and I proved that the birth certificate was a forgery, and who else was involved. I submitted the stuff in October 18th of last year to the Seattle court. I'm reporting a crime. I'm not suing anybody, and that's what this whole case is about. Now, the Seattle judge said, it's not my jurisdiction. Take this someplace else, please. It's the ultimate hot potato for the court. They've never seen a case like this because nobody in U.S. history has ever used these two laws in this fashion.
Right.
Even though this is what the Founding Fathers intended. If you learn of a crime against the United States, you're supposed to report it. And they say a bunch of positions or offices that you're supposed to report it to.
I agree.
The federal judge. It's that simple. So the Ninth Circuit Court didn't even answer us. They're too scared to. They know we're right. So now it had to go to the Supreme Court. And I have a feeling that Kagan, we know from the clerk, because one of my attorneys went to the clerk's office at the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., and the clerk said, yeah, it's been opened, and they've read it. But they wouldn't consider it unless it was unsealed. So I sent a letter and another copy and unsealed it. So they were then able to consider it. And it clearly says who I believe, or who the evidence shows that I believe who was the spy, who was the forger. Alvin Onaka's implicated there, and Fuddy, and the person who I believe did the research on the birth certificate, who had certainly good credentials. If you're going to do a forgery like this, you would pick someone had a lot of experience with birth certificates, the process going on in departments of health. And this particular person was a computer programmer, ran a company that made programs, sold them to departments of health to record birth certificates and other vital records. And of course, his ego was boundless, and of course, he brags about it all the time. Maybe not so much now, but it's too late. It's that guy, as well as the other Obots, do a wonderful job of implicating themselves all the time.
What do you believe is going to be the actual legal outcome of all of your work?
Well, to quote Dr. Conspiracy, the genie's out of the bottle. And it's basically the world, the Americans will know, if they seek it out, that we have a foreign agent who is a Muslim and a communist as President of the United States, and he was put in by the Democratic Party. Its leadership, including Pelosi, damn well knew it. She certified him for the state of Hawaii, because Steve, I can't remember his name. He's now the senator from Hawaii. He was the head of the Democratic Party there, and he refused to sign off on it. Brian Sachs, that's his name.
Yeah.
He refused to sign off. Smart move, but he'd still be an accessory after the. Would he be an accessory? He would be guilty of misprision of felony and misprision of treason. He knew about the crime. He didn't report it. That's what they'd get him on.
Well, the same thing would apply to Pelosi, right?
No, she signed it. She'd be a principal.
I saw 2 different documents she signed.
That's true, different wording. But if she knew and if she was told, I'm sure she was told by Brian Sachs that there was no birth certificate, and she signed it and said he was eligible. She was making a foreign agent eligible to run for president. She'd be a principal. She'll hang. If it's proven that she knew about it, and this is a forgery, she'll hang. This is the worst crime in American history. Nothing comes close.
Well, does it all really, truly come down to whether or not Eric Holder will do anything about it?
It has nothing to do with him anymore. My case is to put the evidence in a grand jury, appoint a special prosecutor not in the Justice Department, and prosecute and the evidence. Once it's shown that the birth certificate number of 640 is not owned by Obama but by Virginia Sanahara or somebody else, it's over with. Then it's really collecting the evidence on everybody else who helped, who else knew it, who was part of this. Let me explain also, if a crime has associated with it the death sentence or life in prison, then there is no statute of limitations. So they can go back 20, 30, and 40 years on everybody who is part of this long-term conspiracy and nail them. And I hope they do. And that's why they're very nervous about it. This is really opening Pandora's box. I told the judges, I wrote a special letter to the judges, different than the canned letter or the suggested letter I put on the website ObamaForgeryBook.com. I told the judges, this is the worst crime in American history. You have to deal with it. Don't worry about what Congress says or how to unravel 5 years of treaties, appointments, laws, etc. Much of Congress knew he had no birth certificate. He wasn't eligible. Let them go fix the problem. Let them go decide what they're going to do. The judges should do what they have to do. It's basically either submit, any one of the Supreme Court justices can submit this to the grand jury in Washington, D.C. Only one of them. In fact, Scalia, one of them who had written a paper, a dissenting opinion on a case that said that the grand jury system has been eviscerated because the executive branch is somewhat in control of it. But the law says a judge can put into a grand jury. Scalia could tell the other judges, either you're going to send this case back to Seattle to put it into a grand jury, or I'm going to walk down and I'm going to submit it to the grand jury here in Washington, D.C., because the law says I can. Because when this law was written, it was written in the very first Congress, second session. George Washington signed it into law. The only judges there were Supreme Court justices. I don't think they had even appropriated the money or appointed any other judges anywhere else.
Well, boy, I tell you what, Mr. Vogt, I appreciate you being on Honest American News, and I sure appreciate your explanation of your work, and all I can say is God bless you and the best of luck to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. I want people to read the stuff, to educate themselves, to know the truth and see it for themselves, what the treachery of these people did.
Give them that website one more time, please.
ObamaForgeryBook.com. Very simple.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Have a lovely day.
You too, sir. God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.